Waiting for my guest to show up now. Send an invite. Welcome to Crew Drop the Crew. I'm sorry, I got to knock this weight butt off before I go crazy. Thank you. It's terrible music. Welcome. We're just waiting for Tyrone Poole to show. He is here for an interview today to talk about ultimate success in the game of life, which I'm looking forward to because he's just so super positive. Quick shout out to the listeners here. We've got Sammy in the crowd there. Ron, how you doing? Pleased that you could join us here. Dave, how you going? Truthful Sweet, always present. And AC, my boy, how you doing, man? And Stephanie, the beautiful Stephanie. Wait, but I'm going to ignore you because you put out some shitty music. Tyrone, man, where are you? I'll send him another invite in case he's caught up or something. I think he knows how to use this app. Tyrone. Okay. In the meantime, if anyone wants to come and keep me company, feel free to do so. Oh, no, here he is right now. Tyrone. Hello, sir. I think we got you. Tyrone? I have a feeling he's accidentally answered. Hello, sir.
All right, I'm getting set up, sir. Give me a little
All right. Not a problem. I thought you may have accidentally answered. I was going to sit there and eavesdrop for a little bit.
No, actually, I just jumped off another show.
All right.
A person that everybody's trying to get to. Then
yeah, man, you're the man. That's why.
Ripping and running, trying to please everybody.
As long as you're pleasing the ladies, the men can wait.
No, that's what I'm trying to do. All right, hold on for a second.
Yeah, you can take your time, man. It's all good. We got time.
All right. Get my headsets.
All right.
All right. Okay. Let's see what we got.
If you're ready, I will send you a
Let's see here.
video invite.
All right. Let's see what we got brewing.
Invite to video. I'll also do that for myself.
Okay. That looks all right video. Right there, I guess. Okay, let me check myself out before I accept.
Yeah, the good thing is you can look at yourself a little bit before on the video before you actually do accept, which is a good thing. Right? I didn't get to do a sound check today or camera check before the show, so we're good though, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're okay. I look okay.
Oh, man. There we go. Right. Handsome man, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Tyrone Poole. I'm going to give that a share right now with the followers so they can come and join us as well. Tyrone, thank you for joining us, man. Appreciate your coming forward to spend a bit of time with us for about an hour. I think you said you've got now, so that's cool. We can try and do things in that time frame, but welcome to Fireside, first of all. I know you're fairly new at Fireside, right? And I just want to find out how your experience has been going so far.
Yes, I'm very new at Fireside, and actually I'm just sitting back taking in the atmosphere, learning from everyone, and just trying to make sure that I understand as much as needed, because once I roll out the carpet, once they say, once you throw it out there, sometimes you can't bring it back. So I want to make sure when I throw it right. Sure.
I like that. And you can absolutely get that sense from you that that's what you're like, right? So I wanted to go into that a little bit. First, I mean, you're a decorated person here, a man of true success, someone who's just extremely motivational when you speak with people. I mean, I was listening to you speak. I first met you in the green room here when you first signed up briefly, and then listening to you talk, I think with Stephanie as well. Man, there's just some sort of charisma that just is not even like oozing out of you. It's like punching out of you, dude. Like it is just like grabbing people and just wanting to pick them up by the throat and slap goodness into them. That's how it feels. That's how much energy, that good energy comes off you. So I want to go back a little bit about Obviously, you're a two-time Super Bowl winner, which is a huge thing. Now, I'm not a huge football fan, being from Australia. I catch a little bit. I only know a little bit about the game, not a great deal. I'm more AFL, Australian Football League, which a couple of our guys, by the way, have gone over to pro football over there for kicking the goals. Right, a couple of Aussies
Yes.
in time, and
Yes.
they
Yes.
do. They got a good punt on them, right?
Yes. Yes. They
Yeah,
do.
yeah,
They do.
yeah. So, I guess I want to just before we go into the pro football stuff, I want to go back a little bit about you as a kid, man. What was life for you like as a kid with your family, with your folks, being sports orientated or not, and just try and see if we can briefly find a drive or what where you sort of learn a part of success in childhood or not.
Well, I'll tell you this right here. First and foremost, uh, you're born with your gifts. Your gift comes from your parents. And when I say your gifts, whatever DNA your mother and father has, then when they come together, that's what they create. So when you look at any athletic person, or you look at any person that you see doing something great, when you look at the environment in which they come from, usually the mother and father create the seed and they produce it. That's where that talent comes from. So I really haven't didn't really see my mom and dad grow up playing sports, because in their era, they had to work. They had to work, and I'm pretty sure a lot of our parents back in the 50s and 60s and all that stuff, they had to work. They had to work. There were no uh, training camps that you could send your kids to uh, uh, expose them to education or physical equipment to help them be better. So my gifts originated through my parents and my environment in which it was so competitive, our neighborhoods. And that's one thing that we don't have in this day and age. Neighborhoods are gone. I'm like, even myself right now, the neighborhood that I live in, I really don't know my neighbors. I'm like, I see them every once in a while when they come out to the mailbox, walking their dogs. I'm like, hey, how you doing? But in this day and age, there are no more neighborhoods. It's just houses right beside one another. But when I was coming up, there were neighborhoods. I'm like, we would play with each other. I'm like, the guys would come knock on my door. I go knock on their door. We would come up 5 and 10 people deep, knocking on the door. Hey, is Tom in? Well, first of all, you greet the dad or whoever answered the door. Hello, Mr. Such and Such or Mrs. Such and Such. Can Tom come out and play? Hey, Tom, your friends out here. And then you come out the house and hey, we play in the driveway, we play in the street, we play at the park, and that's how you develop your skills continuously, because you're almost going against, not almost, I did. For me, speaking of myself, I played sports against guys that were older than me, older than me. I'm like, say like 14 years old, playing tackle football, street ball. Tackle football, street ball is where basically there are no rules. You pick patch of grass somewhere. And okay, the end of this car is the end zone, and over there by that light pole is the other end zone. And hey, here we go. Pick your team and let's play tackle football. And so I'm playing with guys who are older than me. So what that did, it made my advancement in my athletic skills develop even better. That's kind of like today. We go and get education, right? We go and listen to people who we feel like have many more years of knowledge than we do in corporate America. So it expedites our knowledge and our learning curve that we can overcome, so we could be better business people. So the same thing when I was coming up, I was playing against individuals that were older than me. So they were teaching me a whole lot. So now when I go up against guys my age, is men amongst boys. So I stand out. So, but I definitely believe, to answer your question, that my athletic ability comes from my parents, and my neighborhood developed helped me to develop and perfect my skills.
Okay, so the good answer. I like that because I wasn't quite expecting that to be born with that. And you're right. I suppose with genetics, right? You're born with certain skills with genetics and your makeup.
That's
But
why you gotta be
a
careful who you
massive part of
marry.
that, and that's something.
Gotta be careful who you marry.
Which bloodline are you getting into, ladies and gentlemen?
That's right.
No, but yeah, literally, there's a footballer here that had a kid with a woman I know, and he comes from a good bloodline. She comes from a good bloodline. He wanted to have more kids for sports. He really did. He legitimately had this conversation with her, so he knows where the genetics are at. But um, that's one part of being born with skills, but other skills must develop from mindset too. And that's a whole different set of skills that people may not be born into at all. Maybe it might be developed from people that come from a bad upbringing too and develop a positive mindset out of that. It's your mindset to me when I speak to you is the charisma that's oozing, right? So I'm just wondering whereabouts and what life was like for you to develop the mindset that you've got now, because it is flying, baby. It is good, man. Like you've got this energy about you, dude. You really do.
Yeah, well, I'm a firm believer that what you will be in the future, you are already it right now. So again, it goes back to being born with it. A lot of people just don't know because they have not discovered it. They have not been exposed to it. But my household was full of love. My household was full of love, man. And like again, I could just remember back when the grandmother on Sundays, grandmother, she would cook. Everybody would go over to my grandmother's house on Sunday, and they had the big bowls, passing it around, the green beans and collard greens, or the cornbread muffins, whatever the meat was that day, the mashed potatoes. That was family. That was family. So we were close knit. And again, I'm gonna answer your question, but it all ties in together that we are creatures of our upbringing. And so when I look at what I do now, it started back then, just being in an environment that was challenging because of the structure of the economics. You can't control that. It is what it is. If the government wants to make it better for one side of the ledger, they do it. And if you get caught up and you're on the other side, then that's it. But that doesn't mean that you're a bad person. Just that you, as they say, you were dealt some cards that were unfair. But if you have love in the house and you have commitment in the house, then you, or should I say, the environment, which is your house, then you can develop that mindset and to overcome and to continue to be great. And there's an old saying where a person makes a statement that two people can see a bunch of people with no shoes on. And one person would say, man, that's a tragedy. That's a tragedy that they don't have any shoes on. Then another person would say, wow, this is a great opportunity for a business. So again, it's all about the structure that you grew up in. You got a lot of families, I believe, today. They are wanting money, 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 money. And people will kill, what the OJ say, people will kill their own brother. They will rob their own brother. They would do anything to get the money. They would sue their own brother. That's the wrong mindset. And all that's going to do is create something down the road that you don't have the foundation to handle. And I hope what I'm saying is crystal clear. But at the end of the day, for me, love, seeing commitment in the house. My mom and dad were in my life all the way up until 2005 when my dad passed away during the football season. So when they talk about all these other athletes, playing through tough times. The quarterback for Green Bay at one time, back in the day, his dad died, and the media put a big spin on it. He had his best game during the Monday night whatever football game, and he was going through all this with his dad passing. Man, we all got something happening. But the media only gonna talk about what they want to talk about. But my dad passed in '05. But again, I grew up with my mom and dad, so I had structure in the house. And that's why I'm a firm believer that, it's imperative, even if the mother and father are not together, that you make it your purpose to get y'all butts together. If y'all got kids together, get your butts together so y'all can raise the kids. It's not about the mother, it's not about the father, it's about what y'all produce. Put those kids in the best environment so that they can be successful, and then you can break those curses or whatever that we see in the generation today. But again, for me, my mindset came from the fact that I had a father who was there. I was able to see him handle situations that when he and my mother would get into an argument, I would see how my father would handle the situation. And guess what? That's kind of how I handle the situations too. So again, if we don't have that structure, if we won't develop a mindset that will help us be victorious, and we will be forever listening to people who don't know what they're talking about to a point. What I mean by that is you got people who are trying to tell people how to stay married, and you never been married yourself. You got people trying to tell people how to do this and do that, and you never done it yourself. So people are doing it because they try to go for the money instead of trying to help people develop a mindset to where they can maximize their lives. So for me, again, my environment helped me have my mother and father in the house.
100%. We've got a message, a written message here from Elvis King, who's in the listeners. He's sent you a message saying, "Oh man, I can smell Grandma's kitchen. A lot can be learned if you keep your ears open while your mouth is closed." That's a word from Elvis. So, Tyrone, man, I want to know a little bit about the lead up of when you sort of realized that you were getting to pro football and getting accepted to go down that track, and some of the highs and lows about your pro football career as well. Before I ask you some questions about your book. So, in that lead up, man, what was that process like? Getting accepted, getting into pro football, going out on that field for that first day, knowing what your future is going to be, or envisioning what your future is going to be. What was your mindset at that point?
Well, before I can even go to the professional level, I think I got to give people a lead up to how I got to the NFL. And even got into college, because in order to get into the pros, you got to have, play
Right.
college football. But I quit football in high school. I quit football in high school. I quit football in high school and still made it to the pros. So I like to say that to let people know, wherever you are, whoever's listening, man, you can mess up, fall down, and whatever, and you could think it's over. I'm here to tell you, no, 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 it is not over. Again, if you know who you are, what you have, and what you can do, you may have to take an alternate route, but you still would get back on the highway to your destination. So I quit football in high school, ended up going to Fort Valley State. I was a running back in high school. Never played on the defensive side at all. Again, that's just another plug that if you know who you are, what you have, and what you can do, if you got skills, like they say, when you stir the cream always gonna rise to the top. So if you're being stirred vigorously and your cream hasn't risen, then you might be in the wrong pot. So you might need to change pots, but find out who you are, what you have, and what you can do really. Date yourself, as I always say. Go date yourself. Take yourself out. Look at yourself in the mirror and ask, who am I? But anyways, I go to Fort Valley State, which is a HBCU, which stands for Historical Black College and University here in Georgia. Fort Valley is located in central Georgia. Is probably 25 miles of Macon, Georgia. So if you can find Macon, Georgia, which is the center of Georgia, then Fort Valley is about 20 minutes or so from Macon. So I go there again. Never played defense in my life. Was a running back in high school, and I walk on. I walk on for football. I walk on for track and field. I ran track as well. So I ran the 100 and the 200 meters, and I walked on for track and got a scholarship, got a full scholarship. And then spring football came, and I walked on for spring football and ended up getting a full scholarship for football. So now I got two full scholarships,
Wow.
right? And
Right.
football paid everything. Now again, I grew up in low income. All right. So we would get, like, I'm gonna go back jaywalk a little bit, just to fast forward to what I'm about to say. Low income, didn't have a lot of finances. So the two scholarships that I got and received from Fort Valley, praise God, the football took care of all my tuition, books, and everything. So the money from track would come directly to me. So what I did for 4 years, I took half of that money and I sent half of it home to my parents. And I put the other half, I would use it to get the stuff that I needed for college, whether it was um, uh, clothing or whether equipment or whatever I needed. So that's what my gifts, my talent did for me. It helped me to overcome a poverty. It helped my parents. So, anyways, I I walk on for football, and I went over to the running back side because that's what I did in high school. I was a running back. And on the third day of spring practice, the head coach comes to me and he says, the defensive back coach wants you to come try out with the defensive backs. Now, again, I've already quit football one time in high school. And man, I was
What made you
probably,
quit? What made you quit back then before
well,
we go on?
I came to practice late. I was a senior, one of the leaders, and being young. And this is why it's so imperative that we put the right people in front of our youth. People that could be models and mentors that can show them what it's really like to be at a high level. But anyways, and that could be a business as well. If you want to run a good business, you got to put yourself in front of people who have done it at a high level so they can be a mentor and then give you a model to follow. So myself being young, didn't really have anyone to show me, So I come to practice late because my teacher at the end of the school, which at our high school we had 6 periods. Um, so the sixth period, I think I was in my chemistry class, I think. So the teacher told me I had to stay after, to redo whatever, whatever. So I had no other teammates in my classroom to tell the head coach that I was going to be late. So I had to do what the teacher said. And then afterwards, I went to practice, but practice had already started. So I'm putting on my equipment. I run to practice, walk across the field. Now, I don't know if anybody who's listening, if you've ever been in a situation where you have walked into a meeting room late and it's already started, or you walk anywhere where something has started. Like that is the most embarrassing thing to
Sure.
ever witness, man. I'm like, they're out there stretching. The football team is stretching. And then I walk. Now I'm the senior, so I'm like, at the front. The seniors always led everybody else. So I had my little row that I led where I was responsible for. So when I walk in and walk up, the head coach stopped practice. And he basically, not to get on me, but to set an example. And
Sure.
that is, anybody that if you're trying to win, you have to set a culture, right? So the culture was, hold on, we can't have this. So it wasn't that he was trying to make me look bad. I had broken a rule. So he had to stop practice to make sure that nobody else would break the rule either. Okay. So me being young, I'm thinking he's taking it out on me. So I
Sure.
get upset. I'm like one of the stars. And again, sometimes we in public, whether you're a CEO or athlete or whoever, sometimes you can let your fame go to your head and people can't correct you or give you correction. You take it personally. Now, who are you talking to? You can't talk to me like that. Do you know who I am? Instead of just saying, hey, you know what? I messed up. I apologize. I'm sorry. Boom. But I was like, okay, hold on. Why are you getting on me? I am one of the stars. So I'm like, throw a little temper tantrum and I throw my helmet down. You know what? Man, I quit. Thinking that just like everybody else, he's gonna call me back,
Sure.
But no, no, no. We were so talented back at my high school during my playing days at LaGrange High School here in LaGrange, Georgia. Um, you know, it didn't matter. They had somebody else that was just as good as me. So, anyways, long story short, that's how I ended up quitting because I didn't take the prosecution, or should I say the correction, constructive correction from my head coach properly. And my pride made me quit. But thank God my ability allowed my destiny to still be fulfilled, even though the enemy within me tried to counsel the
Sure.
plans. So anyway, long story short, I hope that kind of answered. That's
It
how I
does,
ended
but
up
it also gives me an insight to understand that you quit, but it really wasn't you quit because you were over it. It was still completely in your heart, so it probably wasn't too hard to spark you back up to come back again on this next situation that you're talking about, right? It was still
exactly,
there. It was still
exactly.
there.
It was still
Yeah.
there.
So
That's
go
what
ahead
what
back
you
to that one
said.
then.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the uh, again when I went to Fort Valley, um, and I'm gonna get back to the football thing. But when I went to Fort Valley with a professional football, get in there. I know that was your question, what it was like. But I had to tell the story so that
Yeah, go
people
for
will
it.
know the
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
movie. You know, 'cause you
That
don't want
that's
to tell
the,
the end
that's
of the
the point.
movie
Yeah.
exactly. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
because sometimes people think you were born like that. Whoa, you were born? No, no. There was a lot of this iron being put in the fire and bent
Sure.
and put in the fire
Yeah.
again and hammered back out, put in the fire again. Then this is the final product that you see that looks so good or what have you. But yeah, how I got to Fort Valley, that was a an instructor, and I didn't say this. There was an instructor who was an alumnus of Fort Valley State, and she happened to be a teacher at my high school, LaGrange High School at the time. And her son played sports, played football, and she loved sports. She loved football. She knew football. So just like anybody, she's recruiting, right? Everybody recruiting for their own company, school, or whatever the case may be. You're trying to get talent. So she asked me where was I going to play football, a scholarship. I said nowhere. So she says, "Hey, you want to go to Fort Valley State?" I said, "Pony up, let's go." All I heard was another opportunity, Rock, just like you said, another opportunity to play football, to put that helmet back on, them shoulder pad back on, to redeem myself, to get myself back on my highway, back towards my destiny, which would be the NFL. So again, now fast forwarding, I go over to the defensive back side after the head coach had told me that the defensive back coach wants me to come over. And again, I'm like at the breaking point of wanting to quit again. I'm like, man, look at here. I'm like, I'm a running back. I don't know nothing about defensive back, never backpedaled in my life. Now, you really want me to do this. You know what? I could find tons of other things to do. But you know what? I went over because I believed in myself and I wanted to play sports. And I went over and, it was a learning curve. But again, I'm telling people this story again. Hopefully you can extract the principle. The principle is you can mess up, you can fall, falter, and you still can get back to the top. There may be a learning curve, but don't give up in the learning curve. Okay. The only way you will crash your life is if you don't make the turn. So if you can make the turn, and that's where education, knowledge, and getting as much insight as possible can help you because you already got the gift. You just may have to retool it. You may have to restructure. You may have to re-strategize, but you got the gift. You will crash if you don't make the turn in the curve. So I didn't, I made the turn in the curve. And like they say, the rest is history.
I have a question for you, man. You know, obviously, this is a question I want to ask and understand the mindset of someone who's a champion and a winner like you are, right? There was a process that you went through where you realized that it was you were getting better with your skills, more recognized, becoming the champ. Was there a strategy behind that, or did you just go out and play best game every time, put your best show on every time, or is there a plan in your head that I need to get to this level next and accomplish that, then get to this level next? I mean, what was that for you? Because there's a lot of people that are trying to reach their goals in life, and I've got my own personal goals I'm trying to reach, and that's kind of a strategy that I'm looking at is this, that you've got to get here and do this, accomplish that, show this, and just climb your way to those next pieces. Is that sort of the mindset that you had?
Yeah, definitely, Rock. You got to have, first and foremost, like I said, you have to know who you are, what you have, and what you can do. And the earlier you can learn that, the sooner you can start moving towards your destiny, going through those levels. And there will be different levels. But the first thing you have to understand is that success, no matter what it is that you're trying to do, you got to know what you want to do. And then you got to understand the levels, understand the principles and procedures, the formulas, I like to call it, for being successful. Okay, you got to understand the foundation. If you build on a great foundation of knowledge and understanding of who you are, what you have, and what you can do, then all the other levels, that's what they call the process, becomes easier. But there will be a process. There are no elevators. There are no elevators. There is the steps. That's what I would tell people to take, because if you take the steps on every level, you learn something new. You learn something new. And guess what? When you take the steps, whenever situations happen in life, if there's a recession, if there's problems in the world, then because you took the steps, you understand at all times what level you have fallen to or what level you are headed to. So when you know that, then you know, okay, hey, let me pull out the principles for this level that I learned 5 years ago and let me reapply them so I can get my machine going again. But for those who don't take the stairs and they want to get that quick access to success, inherit success, I like to call it, when situations happen, recession happens, they don't know how to handle it because they were given something that they don't understand. And then they fall and they keep falling. It's like a black hole. They keep falling. They reaching and reaching, trying to grab something, but there's no knowledge there to grab onto. So I would always tell people, no matter what you're trying to do in life, take the stairs, go through the process. Yes, you may get there 2 minutes late. Somebody else may get there faster, but at the end of the day, you built your success on a solid foundation. So you will always be able to handle the good, the bad, the highs and the lows of the roller coaster ride I like to call life. And I want to say this real quick about the levels. Steve Jobs, I heard this, that the late Steve Jobs, that he did not allow his kids to just be all about the iPad. He made sure that his kids understood DOS. So that's the foundation of everything we see when it comes to computers. So if something were to happen in this world and they send everything back to DOS, how many people would be lost? So again, take that principle and use it for life. Okay, that's an experience, but the principle is learn the foundation or whatever it is. First and foremost, date yourself because you are the foundation. And then go to level 1. And then after you accomplish level 1, guess what? Now you go to level 2 because we are just fantastic human beings. I'm a firm believer that no one has tapped into their maximization in life. We have not. There are more things that the doctors and people who study the human body, they are saying, man, they're learning something every day. The body is so unique. The body, I believe, can heal itself. You put it in the right environment, you don't need all that medication. You put your body in the right environment, eat healthy, do the right things, take all this stress off your life, and any ailments that you're dealing with, I'm a firm believer that the body can heal itself with the right environment. But every level is a learning level. And I'll close with this because I know we've got another question. But I would always tell people that I've learned, never be afraid to be a sophomore again if you're looking for greatness. If you're looking to be great. Now, if you're just looking just to be the King Kong of your world, then, hey, do what you got to do. But if you're looking to be a master of the world that can help change the world, then you're always going to be invited into an environment that requires you to learn more than what you know right now. But if you ever walk into a room and say, I know everything, then you just cancel your ability to go to the next level.
I love that. And I think a lot of people need to be humbled that way and realize that in life, because too many people are going around trying to push their beliefs on other people and get them to agree with that, instead of just sharing information to educate and understand and learn themselves more. Tyrone, we've got a couple of messages here. Let me just read them out real quick to you. One is from King. It says, just a question. You said, praise God. How important was God, faith, and church during your childhood and now as an adult, is one question. And the second one is, Some Meta has said, I'm new to this app. Paul Varda introduced me. Sorry for any disruptions. Hi, Meta. Welcome to the app. Welcome to Fireside. But yeah, there's that question from Elvis about God.
Yeah, my faith is very important. And really, I'm a believer that we live in a physical body. We have a soul, but our spirit is who we really are. Um, that's what I believe, and I believe that's where the power is. It's in our spirit. So God is a spirit, and for me, my strength comes from what I know about who I am. That's why I said, if you can find out and if you know who you are, not only from a physical standpoint, you find out what your talents are. But if you truly find out the inner you, who you truly are, then I believe you become a master. You become a master, and you will do phenomenal things because you will always have that solid foundation, that solid rock to build from. So no matter what comes or what happens, that inner you, that spiritual you, which I get my understanding of who I spiritually am from the Most High God, my Heavenly Father. So yes, God played a very uh, impactful role because life is going to throw you some situations. And if you go out there believing that you can handle everything, that's why I think you have a lot of people, man, losing hair. You got people losing hair and people stressing out. Not talking about you, Rock. I know.
No, I think it's starting, but we have one of the guests in the listeners right now, Raymond Palmer, he's a scientist about anti-aging. So he talks about all this sort of stuff. I'm going to take some of his tips. So one of them is stress. Do not stress, but you're right there.
Yeah, do not worry. Do not worry. So, but yeah, stress comes from worry, man. And there're just some things that you just got to understand. That's not my fight. That's not my fight. And that's what stress tries to do. It tries to draw you in to a fight that's not even yours. And then you end up getting stressed out about it. And you're stressed out about it because you can't handle it. That's not your issue. And I'll end this statement, the question about faith and battles, with this statement here. Have you, or should I say a question? Have you ever seen a problem, or should I say, have you ever seen an answer get stressed out by a problem? I haven't. I've never seen
you're right.
an answer.
I've never heard of it that way before.
Yeah,
never heard of that way before.
You get stressed out when you don't have the answer.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so I want to ask you something that it kind of goes in opposite tracks, but it could also have the same answer for both too. So let me just throw them both at you and see what you come up with here. So one thing is I want to know what system or how you believe we should be tapping into that spirit, how we be tapping into our potential like that as one thing. But at the same note, I want to know that not everything was rosy in your success. I'm sure along the way there was hardships, there was hard times, there was times you wanted to give up. There would have been some negative mindset that creeped in, but you would have had to push that away or stomp on it or overcome it. Mm-hmm. So what ways in both do you think is tapping into your potential as well as overcoming the negativity or the hardships and hard times that come along with these successes? Because to get where you want to get in anything, not just with pro football, I'm sure, is hard, is difficult. It's not easy, or else everyone would be doing it, right? It's about how much you're dedicated to get there. How much do you want it? What was that for you?
For me, the tap in, I'm gonna touch on both the sports side and the spiritual side. My father, again, that's why I think the male role is so important, just like the female role. And I'll even say this, I'll be bold enough to say this right now. This is what I believe. I believe that the mother and the father are the closest to God that a child will see. And what I mean by that, God is male and female. So there's the protective and provider side of God, and then there's the nurturing and caring side of God. And usually we associate the nurturing with the mother, and we associate the protective side with the male. So when you separate that, when you have a child growing up and just seeing only one side, then I think they miss out on the development of the other side. Whether it's a female being brought up in with her father only, there's that femininity side that she would not be fully understanding of. She's gonna have more that dominant male side, and vice versa. If you have a son growing up, in a female only structure, then he's gonna miss out on that male masculinity. So that's why I said in the beginning, man, you know what, the mother and the father. If you're not together, y'all get y'all doggone butts together so that child can see what God looks like. But then, that tapping in, you got to tap into who you are, what you have, and what you can do. And that's how you're going to overcome. And just being consistent. God is consistent. And that would help me to stay consistent. And knowing my gifts, which were brought to my attention, not by my parents, believe it or not, but through my PE teacher, physical education. And I'm a firm believer, and I support and I believe in PE. Right now, you go to certain high schools, they don't even have PE to a point. They don't even, should I say they have PE, but they don't, it was a requirement when I was coming up in high school. I'm like, you always took physical education. But now it's like, if kids don't want to take it, they don't have to take it. But it was my PE coach who spoke the first words into me. And that's why I believe you got to have people who could tap into you, using your word tap in. They tap into you and say, hey, you know what? You got something right there. It's almost like you are hanging a picture. And the bigger the picture, the harder it is when you up close trying to balance it, because you can't tell which side is down or up. So you always got to have somebody standing far behind you, looking from the outside or looking from a distance, saying, hey, you got something there. Or, hey, tilt it to the right a little bit or bring it up a little bit. So we got to always have somebody that can tap into us. And my physical education coach in the 5th grade, Coach Parsons, which I got him in my book. Miss Hurd, the lady who got me to Fort Valley, she's in my book. But yes, you got to have somebody who you can tap into, that can tap into you and can help you on your road to being consistent and overcoming.
Awesome. We got a message from Meta in listen. She said, "Wow, so inspiring and empowering. I'm so glad I came on here. I'm a big believer in God. Leaving my worries to God. Your story is amazing." So that's straight to you, Tyrone. And I'll just take this note real quick to say that if any of the listeners want to chime in with a voicemail, now is the time you can start to do that. Go to my Instagram _Rocstedi and leave a voicemail, and I'll be able to play that recorded message here for Tyrone if you have any questions for him. So Tyrone, you tapped on one part. I know we've got about 15 minutes. Have you got to touch more than that in 15 minutes, or not? Or you've got to wrap it up?
We can extend a little bit more.
Okay, cool.
It's all about how the groove is going. If we jamming, man, let's keep the party going.
All right, I'm all down for that, man. I love that. All right, so because I didn't want to try and wrap it up early. We get into these conversations, and I think at the end we want to bring a couple of listeners up to interact with you as well. So, but let's get into the conversation. So that's the tapping in part. I want to know a little bit about the hard times, man, because there's let me tell you a little thing about me, to help maybe elicit some of the times for you that what I'm looking to go into, right? So I lived overseas in Thailand, and it was really tough to do business over there, right? So I'm married to a Thai national, and it was really hard to earn money and all this stuff. And I was getting down to my last few $100s, and I ended up building a sensory deprivation tank, a float tank, for people to float. It's like good for your body. It's like got Epsom salts. It's good for the mind. It's like a wellness thing. And I was having real trouble getting the Thais to even understand the concept to create and complete this thing, that it was just one person after another. I was sacking, I was firing, I was running out of money. I did not want to come back to Australia at all costs. I did not want to come back. My goal was to stay in Thailand. I had a baby there as well. Like my son was like 1.5 years old. I had to do something to survive there, right? And so in the end, I just did it myself. I took over the project. I did everything, one thing after another, just fucking went wrong. And instead of just going, fuck it, that's it, we got to go back, and giving up on this damn thing, I just persevered through all of these problems, and I'm talking there was a lot of major problems going through that until we could finally get this thing into a shop to market, and it turned around and took off to be a really successful business that we sold for high profit, all down to my last few $100s. Now I know most people would have given up because it was so flying so close to the wind, right? But I was so determined to not come home that nothing was going to stop me. Really, nothing was going to stop me on how that was going to happen. Now, to become a successful athlete like you have, pro football, so many people trying to compete to get into the same positions. You would have had your difficulties along the way, where you possibly wanted to give up. I don't know, but the hardships of just being focused or hyper focused on that task. What was that for you? Like, how did you overcome that?
Well, again, the hard times, I'm gonna go back to my childhood again, but really, believe it or not, I didn't really have any hard challenges in sports, but I did have challenges. But I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna bring that back to relevance. Hard times, yeah, I saw hard times. I saw hard times growing up. I remember, the house that we grew up in. Uh, Plus, why should I say my kids? I'm gonna say this about my kids first. They and all of us have the opportunity to where our kids probably don't have to see the hard times that we went through. But I made it a point to make sure that my kids saw the environment that I grew up in. I make it a point for my kids to see that where you are, there is another side of the ledger. So I think if you can introduce people to both sides of the coin, I like to call it, I think people will make better decisions and people will be more humble. But when you've only seen nothing but filet mignon, then I think it kind of robs people and paints a prideful picture. But when you are able to see and experience both, whether you see it or you have experienced it, it allows humbleness to come in because you can very well say to yourself, you know what? That could be me. But my kids, I make sure that I took them back to let them see the neighborhood that I grew up in. Hard times, right? Kind of like Run DMC. Hard times are coming, just like the flu. Watch out, homeboy. Don't let it get you. But yeah, that's my rapping.
But you're right in that, right? Because
yeah.
It's nice. People want to keep kids away from the negative things. It's like if it's all negative, what you're saying, they never see what the positive sides of life are. But flipping that coin, like you said, right, going to the only positive side. If something bad happened in their life and they were just wrapped in cotton buds all their life, they would break, man. They wouldn't know how to handle that. So I wouldn't say having a balance, but being able to be witness, like you said, going back to show your kids your neighborhood,
Yeah.
really would give an understanding of what life can be like on both sides. Same thing for me personally, traveling overseas, right? Living in a third world country shows the kids that in the Western world where we live, it isn't always fucking rosy, man. It's like this is actually what's more common in a lot of places. So
Yeah.
I love that you brought that up.
And then also the fact, like I said, growing up myself, I remember the first of the month, my dad was disabled. So he has kind of like disability check, but man, that wasn't covering nothing really. And then we had the food stamps and everything. So they had the paper back then. Now they give people the cards. But I remember the brown, the green, and all them different colors and everything. And I remember the hard times and the good times. The good times, every first of the month, probably first, second week into that month, man, the refrigerator was full. Full, man. The deep freezer was full of food. I'm like, man, are you kidding me? I'm like, I'm about to burst. Got so much food. But then towards the end of the month, the last 2 weeks, that refrigerator started to get empty. And the only thing holding up the refrigerator is the almond baking soda man, and maybe some grape Kool-Aid sitting up in the refrigerator until the beginning of the next month. So there were periods where, like I said, like a roller coaster, man, there were highs, refrigerator full of food. There were lows when you just putting together whatever sandwich that you could, anything you put between two pieces of bread was called a sandwich. Didn't have that luxury. And also seeing the cable turned off, wake up in the morning watching cartoons and, being able to turn to any channel and then coming back home, turn the TV on and, that's all you hear. You turn the channel, turn it again. What happened to the television? Hey, turn the cable off. So okay. Hey, you go find something else to do. But, hard times. But like I said, the one thing that we always had, we had love. We had love. We had the fact, like you said earlier, the mindset. We're going to make it. We're going to make it. We're going to make it. And that's why I think the mentality of those that come from the hard knocks are much tougher than those who take the easy street. Because people who come from hard knocks, they're not scared to get out there and grind. They're not scared. They're like, man, you call this tough? This ain't nothing. This ain't nothing.
That's something I want to jump in there, man. Yeah. That's these current generations, right? There's too many fucking snowflakes around. It's like they're not building resilience into these days, the kids these days. What are your thoughts on that about kids these days? I mean,
I agree.
You know where I'm coming from.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of snowflakes around. Like it's like you seem like you come from the men of men. You cut from like the cloth of greatness, right? I just like your perspective on what it's like for some of these kids that graze their knee and they wrap themselves up in the corner and lick their wounds. I just don't get it, and I think it comes from a place of, and it's almost not their fault. It's like the generation before hasn't taught them, the resilience, and resilience is an important thing.
Yes, and I definitely agree with you, Rock. Resilience, I think it comes from, I think each generation, we're going to see the mentality, the mindset get weaker and weaker and weaker. We're going to see the physicality get better and better and better, but we're going to see the mentality get weaker and weaker and weaker because the physicality of a person is going to get better because technology is getting better. And as technology get better, it makes the physical person get better, but it dumbs us because we are not having to rely on ourselves. And I think parents do detriment to their kids by doing everything for their kids. Show them how to do it. Make sure that it's safe for them to do it, but let them learn how to struggle. I always use the analogy of swimming. Swimming. We want our kids to swim. And I know a lot of people probably have taken swim lessons. So again, I'm talking about let your kids struggle. You're not going to kill them, no, but let them struggle. Exactly. Let them know what struggle is, and you're strengthening them. So when your kids are taking swim lessons and you put them in the water with a swim instructor, and the parents go and they sit in the bleachers, in the stands or whatever, and they're watching, and the swim instructor knows that if I don't teach them how to keep their mouth closed, then they would never be effective swimmers. So when they take in that water, and the parent like, what are you doing? You're killing my kid. You're killing him. No, I'm teaching your kid how to be an Olympic swimmer because I'm teaching them through the struggle of choking, not killing them, but choking. I'm making them more effective than it would be if I did not. So I think we as parents, we should use that analogy of swimming that I just mentioned there. Teach your kids what to do. Put them in a safe environment, let them experiment, let them fall, let them get scrapes, let them get cuts. As long as they're not putting themselves in detriment to take their lives, let them learn what that pain feels like. And like they say in football, are you hurt? Are you injured? Because if you're hurt, then hey,
I never heard that before, man. I love that. Yes. You heard it. I'm going to use it with my own boy, and what you said about the swimming is good because they'll only do it a couple of times. They'll choke a couple of times and then they learn how to not choke anymore. And so all the things that you do, you learn how to not do anymore when you make those mistakes, right? And I heard a good saying. I was scrolling through real quick. I wrote it down when a buddy of mine told me this a few weeks ago. It says, and it's an old saying that's out there, which I hadn't heard till he said it, but it says, hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. It's like this circle, this circuit. So I totally believe what you just said there is an important thing, of letting people go and do it, let them make the mistakes, let them learn how to not do it wrong anymore until they find their way. Because nurturing, over nurturing can be detrimental to the future of kids, I think.
Yeah. And
Tyrone, we have a message from Deanna. She's in the listeners, so we're going to play that one here. Here we go.
Deanna.
I'm with you, Tyrone, on this as far as exposing the kids to um, your roots. You know, I didn't have much growing up either. We didn't have cable. I was the remote. I was an adult before we had a microwave. It was, almost like a third world country. No kidding. But the thing is that, exposing to that, I agree that they don't get that. My question is, have you ever also allowed your kids or brought your kids into a place of service so that they can see that they're, even as kids, able to contribute, seeing the flip side, but then also being able to give back, and the importance of, if you have some privilege, to be able to give back. So homeless shelter on Thanksgiving, or passing out presents on Christmas Day for a charity. We've done that. It's cool.
That question
Yes.
for you.
Yes, Deanna. I'm going to answer your question. But, I have Tyrone Poole38 Foundation. So Tyrone Poole38 Foundation is a 501c3 organization, does the three pillars that majority of foundations do, fitness, education, and humanitarian efforts. But my pride and joy, as you can tell, is the family. But what I do, I have my kids involved, and just recently we gave away food. So I had my kids helping to give away food. My foundation, every foundation has a heartbeat, and like I said, my heartbeat of my foundation is doing or bringing events for the family, father and son events, father and daughter events, mother and son events, mother and daughter events. Again, the connectivity with the family. So my kids being able to work, not only attend the event with me, but to help structure the event with me. Even my daughter, my son. Shoot, I have them to help me pay bills. I said, hey, can you go pay this for me? Call and pay this and that. So my daughter's 21 and my son is 15. So, I'm giving them little light tasks. And also at the same time, I'm allowing them to see how they can be helpful to people, being servants, and so I'm just thankful, for the foundation, Tyrone Poole38 Foundation. And of course, those who are listening, if you want to check it out, it's Tyrone Poole38 Foundation.o to the R to the G.
Round of applause for that, ladies and gentlemen. Come on. I apologize because I wanted to set some stuff up in the fortune cookie. Only realized after the show started that I hadn't done that. So, and I hate doing it halfway through. I've got to go in and out. So, but if you can just maybe repeat that website again.
Oh yeah, my foundation
with the singing too, Tyrone.
That was with the singing. Oh, he's a brick. Oh, how he's mighty. Just letting it all hang out. But
yeah, baby.
Tyrone, but that's old Rick James. Wasn't that Rick James? But he said she's a brick house. I'm saying I'm a brick house. Tyrone Poole38 Foundation. .org, Tyrone Poole38 Foundation.org. And also, if people want to know more about me on a personal aspect, TyronePoole38.com. TyronePoole38.com. So you can see right there, I'm trying to brand. So when people, Tyrone Poole38, just add whatever other word to it, and you got everything that I'm actually doing. So the foundation and the website, personal, TyronePoole38.com. And there, my book is there as well. And you can see some of the other things that I do. And I tell you this, if you do purchase the book, now you can get the book. And I know this, can I say this? Let me ask you, Rock, this is your show. Can I say anything about the book?
You can say, this is what it's about, brother. Absolutely. I haven't quite finish this. So it's going to do 15 minutes. I was going to get into the book, but we can bring that up now. Let's talk because no, absolutely. Let's talk about it now. But before we do, hang on. I just want to see if someone's written a message here. I've never heard of that version of Joanna. Okay.
Hey, so I know that cool in the game. What's that cool in the game? Joanna. What's that cool in the game? Anyways.
I don't know. That's what Deanna wrote. So
somebody just used words that be popping. Yeah, but it's Deanna, Joanna. So
that's right.
I'm quick on my feet. I'm quick on my feet, people.
I could tell. That's why you're a pro footballer. Don't mess around with him, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, I want to get into your book, man. What the inspiration behind you was to write that book? Because I haven't got to read it yet. I've only just met you, and man, I'd love that. I want to put. I've got a couple of books. I've got one from Raymond as well. I want to put them in the background here too, signed with some people that I've spoken to. It'll be awesome. I'll read through that. But what was your purpose behind writing the book?
Yeah. And I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna send you a book, and I'm gonna write in that book. I'm gonna say, can you hear what the rock is speaking? There you go, right there. See, I just gave you. There you go.
I gotta have some mood here. I gotta do something.
Can you hear what the rock is speaking today? So
I'd love that.
Yeah, but no, the inspiration behind the book is kind of quite like what this what we're talking about right now. You know, who is Tyrone Poole? And for so long, you know, people told me, said, man, you got a story. You got a story. I know people have seen the movie Blind Side. Well, I believe there's a ton of people out there that got stories like that. It don't necessarily have to be in sports. Like yourself, Rock, you know, shoot, you got a story. You get somebody who's a producer, somebody who you can present yourself to, and man, they could take your story and turn it into a movie. You know, it's just all about being around the right people. But being around the right people, they told me, hey, you need to write a book, man. You're such an inspiration. You know, I've had people come up to me and say, you may not remember this, but I saw you blah, 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 and you encouraged me. Or you may not remember this, but we were at this event and you took time to say such and such to my son, my whatever. So, yeah, it was given to me like that. Hey, you need to write a story. Let people really see who you are. And that way you can touch more people and involve more people all at once. And plus, if you're going to be a speaker, you know, it's sometimes good to have a book, you know, that you can have a product. So, but the book,
sure.
Ultimate Success in the Game of Life, it's not about me. It's about 12 principles. And I believe life is all about principles. You know, I'm a firm believer that we all have different experiences. But at the end of the day, if you become successful or you fail, they're both predictable. I do believe that. They're predictable because they both, winning and failure, work off of principles. You know, if you give, then you're going to receive. If you don't give, then you're not going to receive. If you study yourself to show yourself approved, then you're going to advance in education. If you don't, then you won't. So everybody's experience is different, but the principles are the same. So in my book, 12 Dynamic Principles, I just take the things that I have gone through, overcome, kind of give people an inside scoop of who Tyrone was, because a lot of people see me after the movie or at the end of the movie. Oh, he won the Super Bowl trophies and this and that. But you didn't see, like we just talked about, like I just said, how the cable was turned off, how, you know, roaches and everything like that. You know, the roaches, it's a funny thing about roaches. You know, at night, they come out at night, and then you walk into the kitchen, you turn the light on, they start running. So when you hear comedians say that sometimes people are like roaches, you turn the light on, the truth comes on, and people start running. Right. So that's kind of like what roaches actually do. But, you know, I talk about it in my book, you know. So I'm like, I want people to see, you know, this iron of a man that you consider to be an iron of a man. I always use like Superman, Iron Man. I was Clark Kent growing up, and I always had Superman in me, But there were situations where I was Clark Kent. I was humbled. I was weak in certain situations, but I was always strong. And through the consistency and the courage and the confidence of others around me, starting in my household, my mom and dad, and then my friends, everybody pushing each other, calling each other names. If you didn't play the way you were supposed to play, if we playing tackle football, stop playing like blah, 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 and get out there. And you took it. You said, all right, I'm gonna show you what I can do. But like you said, Rob, we got some snowflakes. If you scream at them, you're not doing it right. Why are you screaming at me like I'm doing my best? I'm like, come on, man. I'm like, all right, you scream at me,
getting a prize for participating, things like that. It's bullshit, man. I just can't say. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, Tyrone is such a man's man that we're offline. When I said to him, "You remind me of Superman," he said to me, "Never heard of her." All right, so you got a couple of messages here. So we've got the real skinny. Ty has an awesome personality and definitely want to check out this book. Another jewel of a show, Rock Rogan. Thanks, Skinny. Skinny's also written, by the way, was watching this live on Facebook. That's pretty cool too. Oh yeah, cool, because I've got this streaming across Facebook as well right now.
Awesome.
But I know you're a little strapped for time, right? So I want to. There's one thing I can't not ask you what it's like to win the Super Bowl twice, man. I know it's something that you talk about in most shows, and it's like with this show with you, I wanted to talk about you and who you are and like your understanding about things, not so much all the way through your achievements. However, man, the feeling of winning a Super Bowl twice, then that'd be in any sport, winning a grand final, winning the end of the season's matches. I want to know what that was like for you.
Man, I'm telling you, I know we didn't get it to the point of getting into the Super Bowl. We're getting into the NFL, and I gotta again, man. Now, like I said, I can go longer, but if we have to do a part two, we can do a part two. But just go back to the point of when I got drafted. Before we talk about the Super Bowl, but to get drafted was phenomenal. It was a paradigm shift. And then again, this is what I always tell people too, whether you're in corporate America or you're just an individual. Greatness takes time to develop. It takes time. That's why I said taking the stairs. Don't ever get upset with the process, because if you truly want a successful promise, you got to go through the correct process. And all of that hard work in the hot sun, not going home during the summertime, staying at school when other people were going home for summer, for spring break. I chose to stay at school, not going to the parties. And believe me, there were a lot of parties, and I'm pretty sure anybody going to college understand what I'm talking about. But I stayed focused, man. I stayed focused. And from age of 15 years old, when I first stepped into high school to play football, which that was the first time I played organized sports. Other than that, I was in the neighborhood. But 14 years old was the first time I played organized sports. From the age of 14 to 23 years old, my birthday's in February, so the draft is in April. So I would have been 22 if my birthday was after April, which we got the NFL draft coming up soon. My birthday came early, so I'm 23. So from 14 to 23 years of age was how long it took for that paradigm shift to happen. Now, again, I say all that to say, anybody looking for true ultimate success, it's going to take time, depending on what you're trying to do. Okay? So effectively, I was able to do that. So when I got drafted, it was a paradigm shift. I remember my mom and dad. I'm like, I had it here in Atlanta, and man, I'm taking y'all into my life, man. This is the fun part I love to talk about because it encourages.
This is why I wanted a good couple of hours. I wanted to deep dive from the start, man. But yeah.
Yeah, we can do it. We can do it. Just tell me.
Sure.
But I had my draft party here in Atlanta, and back in 95. And I remember having a family there, all of my friends, from Fort Valley was there, and my uncles, they never been around professional cheerleaders, man. You should have seen them. But they were having a ball, man. I'm like,
that would be like me. I haven't either. So yeah, I'd be doing the same thing they'd be doing, man.
They're like, whoa, let me take a picture with you. Let me take a picture with you. So it was a real big fun day for them. I'm glad they were able to experience that side of professional sports, seeing other professional athletes that they only saw on television because of what hard work had allowed me to do to present to my family members. And I remember receiving that call. My agent came to me, and we had a dedicated phone line in the restaurant. Like, it was blocked, and only the NFL teams, the 32 NFL teams, had access to that phone. And
Right.
I remember my agent coming up to me, and I was out taking pictures and signing autographs, and he says, Tyrone, come here. It's time. And I go to the phone, and now we got ESPN going inside the restaurant, so I can hear as well. I couldn't hear the TV, but I can hear the noise in the restaurant. And I pick up the phone, and it's the Carolina Panthers. And it's Bill Polian at that time, who was the GM. And he says, is this Tyrone Poole? I said, yes, sir. He says, how would you like to be a Carolina Panther? And at that moment when he said that, that's when I heard an uproar in the restaurant go off.
So everyone could hear this as well at the same time?
No. They didn't hear me on the phone. There
was just an uproar from what was going on. Yeah, okay.
The pick had gone up to
right.
The commissioner. And as he was reading it, I was on the phone at that time with the Carolina Panthers. So that's why when you guys look at the NFL draft and you see the player get picked, and then you see him congratulating, or either he's on the phone, he's actually talking with the organization at that time. So that's the same thing that happened to me. So at the time when he asked me that question, I heard the uproar. And I'm like, when he asked me that question, I'm like, you think I'm going to say no? You think I'm going to say, you know what? I didn't work this hard.
Wrong number, man.
Yeah, wrong number, man. I'm waiting for somebody else. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, I would love to be a Carolina Panther, And so I come back out, and again, paradigm shift. My mom and dad crying. And I'm like, I had to go to the bathroom and get myself together. Because I had to do interviews right away. The media in Carolina wanted to talk to me right away. But, I hugged my mom, I hugged my dad, and he was crying. I'm like, I never really saw my dad come to tears. Of course, he tried to suck it up. Like how me and we got that little tear coming, but my mom, she's boo-hooing because it's a paradigm shift. And from that moment, they didn't have to worry about money anymore. So that was a paradigm shift. But that was the greatest moment, one of the greatest moments. Now, fast forward to the Super Bowl, I'm like, that was probably another great moment, other than my kids being born, which I didn't see my daughter. I got to say this real quick, too. I didn't see my daughter born because at the time, the airlines would not allow the pregnancy of a woman, depending on how far she's gotten, to fly.
Sure.
So
still the same today, right? I think it's the same today. Yep.
Same today. Yeah. So I'm in training camp, but I received a phone call. At the time, I was playing with the Indianapolis Colts, and the family had to stay back here. When I was married, they stayed back here in Atlanta. So when I got the call, the Colts put me on a plane, and I came back to Atlanta. And I missed my daughter's birth by 20 minutes. My son, he was born before I went to training camp. So I was able to see his birth. I was there. Man, I cut the umbilical cord. I'm there with the camera rock. I'm like, hold on. I'm like, doc, move over. Can I get a better? Can you move over a little bit? I'm like, I got the camera all up in there, man, And he was like, Mr. Poole, would you like to do the honors? I was like, hey, doc, hold this right here for a moment. I like, but then, like I said, other than my kids, the Super Bowl, I'm like, to see all that confetti fall, it just brought back all fast forward, should I say rewind, all of the hard work, the OTAs, the hot training camps, the pulled muscles, the games that we should have lost, that we won, the games that we lost, that we're like, okay, why did we lose that? And also, you winning games that, you're like, okay, how do we win that game? But all of that comes full circle when you see that confetti fall. And we all look at each other and we're like, man, we did it. We did it, man. We put it together, man. Yes. And it's nothing like seeing something start from scratch and end up being what you wanted it to be. It's like people who got businesses. It starts with just a name. It starts with just an idea. And then you see it come all full circle and you see the accomplishment and you cross that line and then you look back and you say, man, I remember when we started out and we all said that this is where we wanted to be. And through hard work, commitment, dedication, consistency, here we are. And just like Steve Young said in a video, Steve Young was a quarterback for the American football team, San Francisco 49ers. He went to college at Brigham Young. He says after they won the Super Bowl, he says, nobody can ever take it away. So to see that confetti fall, not only did it bring back memories of how we got there, but also nobody can ever take it away. So when I'm 185 years old, I tell my kids, tell my great-great-grandchildren, y'all turn the TV on. They get ready to go through Super Bowl 38 and 39. Y'all can see what your old man, what your granddad used to look like. Yeah, that's me right there. Y'all see me? They be like, Granddad, that's you? Yeah, that's your granddad, So that's the great thing about winning championships. Nobody can ever take it away, man. It lives in history.
Unbelievable, man. How old are you, Tyrone, if you don't mind me asking? I think I saw you around 50?
55. Oh, 5.
55.
Oh, you know what?
Because you're looking damn fucking fine for your age, man. When you said granddaddy, I'm like, damn, like your grandkids can actually have a conversation with you. Like, how old are you, man? Because you don't seem that old, dude.
It's in the genes, Rock. It's in the genes too. Man.
Yeah,
I got them good genes, man. Athletic genes and health genes. So anybody out there,
staying young, man.
Hey, anybody out there want some healthy kids, or you want some athletic kids, call me up. It's $5,000. Let me stop.
He's only talking to the ladies out there now. All right. All right. So a little bit, if you're okay to go into it, about your father. Yes. Can you tell me a little bit more about your dad? Probably from the time around when you were into professional football. So, how much of a role model was your father for you?
Oh, big role model. My dad came up from the old school. And when I say old school, like hugging and all that, I remember the first hug I got from my dad, I think I was in high school. I was in high school when he hugged me. But that's just when they style, Mm-hmm. But my son, 15 years old, I kiss him. I kiss him in public. Yeah. I kiss him on the cheek, give him a hug, man. And that's the one thing that I want to get rid of, that myth that men could not show each other love, But my dad, he was a provider. He was a disciplinarian. When I messed up, man, I'm like, whoo. If I mess up, and that's why I think kids back during our era, man, when they said the teacher or whoever, the neighbors said, I'm going to tell your daddy. No, don't tell my dad. Don't tell me,
just
please.
Punish me here. Don't tell dad.
Punish me here. Today, somebody say, I'm going to tell your parent. Go tell my parents.
Yeah.
Whatever, So, but, my dad, he was always in the house. Didn't matter whether or not, my mom and my dad, if they got into an argument, my dad would walk away. Of course, he'll say his piece and then he'll walk away. He'll go into the garage or go in the yard or whatever the case may be. But then Before the night fell, before the sun went down and darkness came across the land, my dad was in the house protecting, watching TV. He loved wrestling too. He loved wrestling, man. I'm like, oh my goodness, man. He loved wrestling back when with Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes and anybody who know about wrestling. I'm like, back in the day, Hulk Hogan and all, man. I'm like, he would just sit there like he'd be entertained, just laughing on Saturdays. But that's who he was, great father, and he was the only one that I would talk to before the game and after the game. Like my preparation, going into the game, I didn't want to talk to nobody, but I would call him. As I drove to the stadium, and he'll pick up the phone, and I say, hey, I'm on my way to the stadium, and he would say, hey, I'm praying for everybody, and because y'all got a tough one today. And after the game, he would be the one that I want to talk to first. So that's why I always try to tell parents again, going back, the father figure is so important. Nothing against the mothers. Man, I love my mother. I love all the mothers that are out there doing stuff because you are needed, you are wanted. But I'm just telling you, it's just something about that male presence. My mother can give me 1,000. Tyrone, you did well. You did great. You did excellent. But man, one pat on the back from the old man said, boy,
I hear you, man.
Proud. You made me proud.
I hear you, man.
Well, my chest stick out, man. I'm like, boy. So yeah, my dad, he was old school guy. He didn't show a lot of love, but when he showed it, I'm like, it made me want to go out and, man, let me go do super duper, again. So I love that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What was in that? What was in the phone calls or the talking to your dad that before and after is the only one? What was in that for you?
Well, for me, basically, I'm like, I would ask him, what did the media say about me? What did they say about me on TV? Listen, seriously, I was like, what did they say? I knew he's gonna tell me the truth. He's gonna tell me the truth, what he saw. Now, that's why I don't like certain people. When you ask them a question, how did I do? Oh, you did great. You did phenomenal. Yeah, y'all lost, but it's okay. Yes, you got beat for a touchdown, but don't worry about it. That's cool. But I'm a person that I like to drink it with no chaser. I'm like, give it straight to me raw. That's how I get better. Now, that's just my mentality. So when I talk to my dad, I'm like, hey, what did you see on TV? Whew, man, y'all could have done this better. Y'all could have done that better. And then I say, well, what did they say about me? Did they say anything? So those are the type of conversations that we would have. And then I'd be like, okay, hey, I'll talk to y'all later, because they would be in Atlanta, in LaGrange. And, I was either in Indianapolis, New England, or, Colorado, Denver Broncos. So, but no, that was, we had some good conversations.
So you mentioned prior that your dad passed in 2005.
Yes.
How impactful was that for you in your life?
It was tough, Rock. It was tough because actually I'm the only child. I know, yeah. So, but
right.
I'm the only child. I am the only child. So now I'm to the point where I'm like, my mom, she hasn't gotten married for whatever reason, since my dad passed away, and she calls me. I need this done. I need that. I'm like, why did y'all not have more kids so I can call my brother, my sister, hey, can you run over there and do this? But when he passed, of course, my mom, that's who she relied on. And so he was that rock, So for me, when he passed, that meant that I had to take on the duties that he had left. And not only dealing with what I had produced myself at the time, my family, and then playing a career, a sport where it's tough. It's like revolving doors. It's revolving doors. If you don't keep yourself right mentally and physically, they looking for the next man up at the lowest cost. So I had all of that once he passed. And to actually have also that person that you can dial up, that person that will tell you like it is, straight raw, no chaser, and to have that taken away, to have that voice taken away, it does leave a void. And you could try to put other people there, but people can't wear those shoes. They can't wear those shoes. And you can't make people become something that they're not, that you're missing. And I think sometimes we do that in life, even in relationships. We try to go find someone similar to the person that we are characteristics of the person that we were so used to being around, but nobody could actually fill that void, of my dad. So, it was tough. And then, like I said, my mom, helping her, myself being the only child. So, there was a point of good balancing that I had to balance things right there. Sometimes I had to challenge my mom, hey, you know what? Did you try this? Did you try that? And I tried to do everything I could to make sure that she had everything that could help her before she actually had to call me. Because once she called me, then that had to take me away from what I was doing. And then I had to come back. And when I come back to what I was doing, by then it's doubled up, tripled up. And now I'm getting frustrated, So like they say, to whom much is given, much is required. But with wisdom and knowledge and the proper use of knowledge, I believe you can win any battle. So, but no, it was tough when he passed away.
Sure. I have another question for you, and then we'll start to bring people up on stage. I'm just trying to be aware of time for you, that's all. But we have a question from Dave. Dave is someone who is another featured firesider, as well as us here on this beautiful app. He does a show called How Was Your Day with his gorgeous wife, Sam I Am. And you've got to get on their show, man. It's a show they have once a week, and they bring a guest on, and it's just fun. And they'll do a bit of a breakdown about your life, and they do some funny news stories. So it's just a show that I really think you should try and have a go at if they're willing to invite you on, which I'm sure they are. But here is Dave.
Hey, Rock. Hey, Tyrone. Great show. I gotta say, you've already answered most of the questions that we would have asked, and with some great insight on your life and growing up and how you got there. Obviously, we can't, or I can't, and Sam's here too. Sorry, it's the married couple. We can't imagine how it would be to be in the Super Bowl, to be drafted, to be all that stuff. And then the times that you went through when you were younger, when you were difficult and you just wanted to quit. Was there a time in the NFL that was difficult that you thought you're not going to get through this? And what got you through to keep persevering, to keep through your goals and to get those championships?
Good question, Dave. Thank you.
Dave, that's a great question. And Sam, I will not eat green eggs and ham. But no, that's a great question, Dave and Sam. I'm pretty sure that's Samantha, if I'm mistaken.
Yes, it is. That's Samantha that's there. Yeah, Dave, they both got the green.
Yeah. So I just had to say that, Dr. Zeus, Sam, I would not. Yeah, but anyways, no, there was a point in professional football, believe it or not, where I wanted to say, man, kick this puppy to the curve, man. Take me back to the valley. Get me off of this high horse. And because I came from an HBCU, it's such a struggle, not only financially for HBCUs to, be able to do the things that they're doing, unlike these big PWIs, as they call it, predominantly white institution, HBCUs, historical Black colleges and universities. There was not only a lot of financial, but the education as far as football, running pro-style offenses and pro-style defenses. You see mostly of that on the Division I level. Now you do see it on Division II Black college levels or Division I Black college levels, but not a lot. So when I went to the pros, being a first round draft pick, coming from a small school, it was a ton of pressure, man. But then there's a lot of good side too. There's a lot of good side, because the good side, I got to say this first. Like they say, what do you want first, the good or the bad news? We'll get the good news first. Then we'll come to the part that made me want to quit professional football. But being a first-round draft pick, Carolina Panthers, 1995 inaugural season. So you guys are looking at, right now, I got to say this, you guys are looking at the first ever defensive selection in Carolina Panther history right here. All right.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, give that a big round of applause.
For real.
On far side.
First ever defensive selection. Kerry Collins was the first offensive selection ever in Carolina Panther history. So the good things that came from that was Kerry Collins, he was with Nike. Okay, Nike is still in football. Reebok at the time was in football. They're not in professional football no more, no longer. I was with Reebok. Kerry was with Nike. So I'm like, Reebok had me on every billboard, so to speak, within 10 minutes of one another, literally. So I'm like a kid coming from a small school. And I'm not gonna say I'm the best looking dude. I'm not gonna say I'm I'm like,
he's pretty damn fine though. I've seen pictures of his
hitting.
abs, ladies and gentlemen. I've seen pictures of his abs. I have.
Yeah. So I'm like, man, look, I'm all on billboards, and man, you talking about opportunities. But you guys will be proud of me. I did not get caught up like a lot of guys get caught up, but there were opportunities. That just come with anything. If you're a success, and I'm just being real, if you're successful in anything, you have a lot of opportunities. I'm telling you. But the bad side that made me want to quit football, we were playing the Philadelphia Eagles. John Gruden, I don't know if I could say his name. People may get mad at John Gruden saying his name this day and age. But he was the offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles at the time. And we're playing them in Philadelphia. And, being a first-round draft pick, it's already mentally tough on me. I'm like, they threw me in the fire right away. I didn't have time to sit back and say, hey, let me be an Aaron Rodgers, and let me just sit back and look and study up under another professional. No, they threw me into the heat. This is Carolina's inaugural season. They're trying to win right now. So we got to throw Tyrone in the fire right now. So I'm learning as I go. And I get beat for a touchdown that lost the game against the Philadelphia Eagles. And I go into the locker room, man. I'm like, it's already tough to get beat. But you get beat for the game-winning touchdown, man. I'm like, that's just like, you are the one that was supposed to turn the alarm on to the bank or to the store, and you don't do it. And then somebody come in and rob the store and rob the bank. You're like, So I get beat for the touchdown, and I'm like boo-hooing, man. I'm like, you know what? I don't belong here. I'm like, and again, this is like, really, it's not the play that made me think like this. It's just all of what I walked into. Not really being prepared for the pressure, the grind of the NFL. And mentally, I was a pot about to burst. And that play actually made my pot boil over. And I'm like, I don't belong here. I'm like, I quit. I'm, again, going back to high school again, so to speak. And Bill Polian, again, came to me and he said, Tyrone, he said, you belong here. That's why we drafted you. And I'm going to fast forward a little bit. I had an opportunity. I'm sitting watching television, right? I had an opportunity to watch the greatest receiver I think to ever lace up a pair of cleats, Jerry Rice. I think he's the greatest receiver I ever covered. I think he's the greatest receiver to ever play the game of football. There was a story that was told about him that was similar to mine. Again, experiences, principles. He came from a small school. And there were, I think his rookie year, Jerry was dropping footballs left and right. And he wanted to quit. So that's just like how much pressure it is on that level. I mean, it's so competitive. It's like you got dog eat dog. Guys are not really trying to help each other. unless it's a person that feels comfortable in their shoes. But if it's somebody who feels like you are a threat to them, let's face it, I'm a young guy at that time, and they drafted me to take your position. I'm taking food off your table. So if I learn, then I'm going to play. Guess what they're going to do to that older guy? They're going to cut him, release him. Now, he has no income. So it's a dog-eat-dog world there. It's the whoever can help themselves, so to speak. But
it's
that's
funny when it's such a team-orientated sport as well, right?
Yeah, I'm telling you, man.
It's like a catch-22. I didn't even think of it that way till you said that.
Yeah, it's a dog-eat-dog. And
Wow.
unless the person is has confidence in themselves. Like if I had that, that's why sometimes I say, man, I wish I had gone and played with like my rookie year with Deion Sanders or Eric Allen or Aeneas Williams, some of these guys who are considered like great defensive backs because they had confidence in themselves. And they believed that if you can beat me out of my position, you deserve it. But you got other people who know that they are hanging on by a thread. And any type of information that they give you will make you, because you're already physically better than them. Any mental information that they can give you would just push you to the top. So, but yeah, it was a dog-eat-dog world. But yeah, that Philadelphia Eagles game, that's when I wanted to like shut it down, man. I'm like, it's too tough. But I'm glad I didn't, because if I did, you wouldn't be seeing those trophies back there in the back. So every story, man, we all have stories. And the stories can help people see that you're going to go through and understand that you're going to go through hard times. Anything great, any great person that you could think of, if you sit down and listen to them, they're going to say they had some hard times. But they believed in themselves. They knew what they wanted to do, and they knew what they had. And it's just all about surrounding yourself with the right people. And that's how I was able to continue bouncing my ball all the way to 13 years in the NFL. I had people who spoke into me, like Bill Polian. Hey, you belong here. I had guys, I gotta say this too. Jerry Rice, right? Again, talk about people who can speak stuff into your life to kind of, give you that second wind. We're playing the 49ers in San Francisco. And it was my second year. And might be my third year. And we're playing San Francisco. And, I caught punts as well. So I was a special teamer as well as playing on defense. So the custom of NFL before the game, NFL teams, the special team people go out first, the kickers and punters, and then the punt returners will come out, and then you have the quarterbacks come out, and the team come out. So I go out with the punt returners, and I'm catching punts, and my back is towards or to the tunnel that the 49ers come out to come onto the field. And so I caught my punt, and I'm, it's about three of us back there catching punts. And so I caught my punt, and then I go and let the other guy catch, the other guys catch their punts. And I'm sitting there waiting with my hands on my hips and stuff like that, looking around, forward. And I feel a hand, believe it or not, on my shoulder pads, you still can feel stuff. So I feel somebody put their weight. I feel somebody put the weight of their arm on my shoulder. And I heard the words, "You're having a good season." And then boom, they took their arm off. And then I'm like, I looked to my right because, I'm like, oh, my right side shoulder. But the person was speaking to my left side. And then when the person removed their arm and I looked back to my left, it was Jerry Rice, man. It was Jerry Rice. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, whoa. I'm like, Jerry Rice just told me I'm having a good year, man. I'm like, how many people do you think Jerry Rice actually had enough respect for as a defensive back to say, you're having a real good season? And that dude has torched a lot of defensive backs. So for him to come and say that to me, I'm like, man, made my chest stick out again, sure. Rock. But man, I got so many stories, man. I know you got so many other
That's beautiful, questions. Man. I love it.
Yeah.
It's inspiring to hear because you're the hero of so many people, but then to hear what your heroes are saying to you is inspirational as well, right? it's some amazing stories, man. We have a couple of messages. We have one from the King. It's a voicemail. So here we go from the King.
Yes.
Hey, what's going on, Rocstedi, my brother? And Tyrone Poole, man, it's good to hear you speaking from the heart always, right? But I heard you say something about pro wrestling. I got a friend here who wants to say hi to you. There you go. Go ahead, say hi.
Oh yeah, give me that phone there. Oh yeah, baby. I just wanted to tell you there, Tyrone. Listen up there. Listen up real good, right? Oh yeah. You're the cream of the crop, baby. You've already risen to the top. Yeah, you can't go any higher. Oh yeah.
That's Macho Man.
Macho Man, Randy Savage. Oh yeah.
Thank you very much for that, King. Got another question from Mr. Bombastic from the UK. He's saying, as a promising young athlete, how important was it for you to have a great man like your father push you to your pinnacle? And what would you say to promising young athletic men now?
I think,
That's
my
from Mr.
dad,
Bombastic.
my dad, he didn't really understand sports, but I think from the standpoint of him showing me the masculinity of a man and showing me not to quit, because I never saw him quit. He didn't play sports. Like I said, he was, he was disabled. He actually had lost the lower half of his leg in an accident. So he taught me masculinity from knowing who I was as a man. There were other people, like I said, my PE teacher and my friends, and just being in competition with my friends that helped me to develop my athletic ability. But in today's society, I think it's not just in today's society, but I think overall, it's important. The principle, it's important to get to know who you are and build your foundation with your father. To have that person to speak life into you, masculinity into you, to get you to know who you are, what you have, and what you can do. And also to have that person that you can come back to when you go through tough times, but in today's society, is very crucial because you got so many things unlike when I was coming up. Social media, man, is off the chain. Kids can get distracted by that. It's just, so many people, just so many things that are happening that if you don't have that masculinity, if you don't have that, not ruling with the iron fist, that's not what I'm talking about, but somebody who could snatch you up by the collars and say, boy, look at here, get yourself up and dust yourself off and get back out there, okay? Get back out there because you are better than that. You are better than that. So, but yeah, I definitely believe that masculinity, that male part is important. And that's the other thing I like about sports as well, Rock, is that whether it's a female or if you're a male, I think sports, even if you're not good at it, I think everybody should play sports.
Sure.
Because it's so many life situations that sports can prepare you for. Not only the mental capacity that, you gotta be able to perform even when you don't feel like it. You gotta be able to work with people who you may have different beliefs, do different things. But when you guys step on that field or on that court or whether it's tennis, basketball, whether it's Australian rule, football, soccer, whatever, when you guys step out there, you guys have put aside all your differences, and that's only one goal. One goal is for this team to win. And then afterwards, go your way, go my way. But sports teaches us in a world that we live in today, that's pretty much how the world is. You got different people with different beliefs, but at the end of the day, if you work for company A, B, C, D, we are here to push company A, B, C, D. And then after your hours of work are over, go do what you got to go do. I go do what I got to do, and we'll see each other again and do it again tomorrow. So I think everybody should play sports, man. I don't care if you're not good at it. Play sports. There's just so many life lessons in sports.
100%. And we've got a message from Dave here saying, I'm totally fanboying right now. And this time I don't mean you, Rocstedi, because he's always fanboying on me, but he's fanboying on you. I'm a little bit jealous, Tyrone, I must say, but I'm not going to compete against you. Listen, I want to probably take this opportunity right now. Oh, yeah. Macho man. So I want to take the opportunity to say to my folks, thank you, because my folks sound like what your folks did. I've come from a very loving home. So my mum, Lisa, she's always there for us. She's always just bending backwards for the family, man. Like she'll tell us a million times all the positive things. And I want to give a shout out to my father, Vince. They've just started listening to my podcast as well, just recently. So I've been doing this for a while, but they've only just gotten into it. And thanks to my folks for making me the man that I am today. And you're right, my father's a man's man as well. And we all should tell our parents and family that we love them, and I love you guys. I just want to let you know for when you're listening back to this. So thank you very much. Now, Tyrone, man, we'll start to taper off another 15 minutes or so with people jumping up that want to speak to you, right? So there'll be around 2 hours then.
Let's go!
Man, I'm going to ask, can we do another one of these again in future, man? Because I'm having a great time with you here, and I know there's so many stories, but I didn't get to do the normal sequence I would do, and I'd love to just go through some more stories with you in future. So if you're up for another show, man, in future, that'd be great.
Man, let's do it. Let's work that thing. That's my thing. Let's work that
let's do it,
thing.
Brother. I love it.
Let's go.
All right. So if anyone wants to start to pop up on stage to ask Tyrone, say hi to Tyrone, interact with Tyrone, we're going to get 10 to 15 minutes of that before we close out the show. So now's the time. I think Dave might want to pop up real quick. I'll just give him that invite.
Come on.
Here we go. And Deanna. Okay.
Come on.
There we go. Deanna and Dave is up on stage, or Sammy. I'm going to bring you two. No, they'll probably talk to the same. I'll just give you the invite anyway, and you can do. But Dave, there you go. So this is Dave. His wife Sammy is probably with him right now. They're the ones that run the show. How was your day, ladies and gentlemen? Dave Watson and Sam Toscana.
Hello, I'm here too.
Yes, I thought so.
Hey, Sam.
Hello.
We're not on camera tonight. Sam has an eye infection, or not an eye infection. But
I scratched the cornea of my eye, so we don't.
So can we still see Dave's ugly mug, or is that off limits as well?
Yeah.
I'm always ugly. No, I appreciate this talk so much, Rocstedi and Tyrone. It was all the stories that you told. I am on camera. Well, not yet. All right.
There we go. Hey, Dave.
Sammy says no, but Tyrone, I love the stories. I love the stories of you growing up and of your background, things I never knew.
And the perseverance is great.
You can hear her, right?
Sorry.
Get over here.
Yes.
And the perseverance is great.
Put some sunglasses on, Sam.
Listen, we don't want to see me. No. Here, let me put
Over your eyes.
Hey,
Yeah, that's
Sam.
Hello.
And Sam, you remember, was the one who wanted you to come back to her team and just, 3 plays, 4 plays, whatever you can do a game.
49ers.
Anything since Tom came back,
Yeah.
Anyway, no, very much appreciate this. And Rock, I'm sorry, I am fanboying right now. I mean,
That's so good, because you know what, Dave? I'm fanboying on him as well, man. There's something about this guy. I love the dude, straight up.
Oh, man, I love you guys, man. I appreciate it. Appreciate you, Dave, Sam. I'm like, the thing about life, I tell people again, man, life is the same for all of us. It just depends on which part of the stick are you on. Like, everybody's going through some type of financial struggle, okay? It depends on which place on that stick are you on. Warren Buffett, whoever you want to name, to the person who's living up under the bridge. The only difference is the person up under the bridge is trying to find out who they can get it from, and the person at the top of the stick who got it trying to find out who's taking it. But they're both having financial problems. Mm-hmm. So, that's what life is. Life is a opportunist. It's going to serve everybody the same thing. And it's all about how you handle it, who you surround yourself with. And I'm a firm believer, like I said, knowledge and its proper use wins battles. Okay, because you can have knowledge, but the knowledge of the wrong thing won't help you. You can study chapter 13 for a test, and you can study 24 hours and straight. But then when you go to take the test is coming from chapter 15. So you got to have knowledge, and its proper use wins battles, not just having knowledge.
Well, your example of like my beautiful wife said, hide your eye. All right.
See, we see you, Sam.
Of perseverance and the best that you give on, never giving up. And it's just what a great podcast this is. And obviously, thank you, Rocstedi. You keep doing this. I don't know how. Yeah, I know how. You're amazing as well. But you got Tyrone. Great show tonight, guys. And I just wanted to come up and fanboy a little bit and introduce my beautiful wife. All right.
Hey, Sam.
I'm going to keep doing that.
No worries,
Thank you,
guys.
Dave.
Honestly,
Thank you.
the message was wonderful. I think in every walk of life, whatever you do, you need to, you can be told no, and it may be no for now. And I think that's what you've done in your whole life. So I think it's great.
Yes. And the only person, I say this to people as well, I know we got Deanna. She's want to ask a question too, probably. Deanna got me singing with her name. But I tell people, the only person, if you can ever truly digest this and let it grow inside of you. Again, like I said, I do believe that we live in a physical body, we have a soul, but we are a spirit. And if you could ever let this get inside your soul, the only person that can stop you is the person that you look at every day in the mirror. People could put hurdles in your way. Life could put hurdles in your way. But at the end of the day, you determine whether or not you want to jump those hurdles. Your success basically is in your hands.
100%, man. I love it. You're like reinforcing things and beliefs in myself. Like I've got belief in myself, but just hearing it from such a positive mindset, it just amplifies it, man. And that's the truth from inside, man. What you're doing, just having this conversation with you, there's something so electric about you. That's why I'm fanboying on him too there, Dave. I don't usually fanboy on anybody, man.
Well, hey, thanks for letting me come up. And Tyrone, we'll see you on How Was Your Day coming up pretty soon.
Yes, sir. I'm looking forward to it, Dave. Thank you, Sam.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Get that eye better.
Thanks, guys.
Get that eye better, Sam.
She's going to wear an eye patch tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right.
Oi. All right.
Still doing it. Thanks, Tyrone.
Okay. You guys have a great day.
Thanks, Dave. See ya. All right. So we've got Deanna. You can unmute there, love.
Hey.
There we go. Yes.
So
Welcome.
Thank you. So Tyrone, why are you not singing the rest of that song to me? There's
You
an
know
I
what?
love you part after that.
What?
No.
Deanna, I love you.
No one for me. Okay. So anyway, just playing.
Where's the audience claps for that? We got to get a clap from the audience for the sing.
Clap?
Come on. They went all quiet.
Serenade,
There we go. Here it comes.
Uh,
There it comes. There we go.
The funny thing is, I was like, actually, somebody played that outside of my window when I was a teenager. It was hilarious. Very say anything, but no. So anyway, I'm asking this question. So I have found. When did you retire, Tyrone? Because I'm not like, okay, I love football. Don't get me wrong, but I'm a Saints fan, and that's like the players that I know. I'm sorry.
You want me to get her off the stage, Tyrone?
Yeah.
You want me to take care of this?
You know what? No, the only people.
It's a business, man.
Yeah, it's a business. Now, the only people that I would tell you to kick off the stage, Rock, are New York Giants fans.
All right. Any Giants fans here? Don't just leave the show. Please just go.
Leave the show.
You're not welcome.
You know,
They are the only ones that I can't say anything to or can't be in the presence of because the Giants beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl both times. So they are Patriot killers, so to speak. So the Saints, we've beaten up on the Saints before. So, I'm cool. Let the Saints, let Deanna stay up on the stage.
You know what? The Peyton boys are
Let
from
me shed some light.
Louisiana. They were here, Peyton boys, I'm just saying. We had Archie. Anyway, That's not my point. So you are you retired probably a little while back. You were not one of those people who played till you were, 42, 43, 44, retire. Everybody gets their signed stuff, then come back 6 months later because you can't deal with your kids at home. Anyway, never mind. But so my thing is, I feel like the game has changed a lot. I don't know if you feel like that too. I feel like with the rules, I'm just going to talk football if that's
Yeah,
okay. Okay, so with the rules and all I feel like the interference, I feel like the refereeing has become so much, and the rules have become so much that you almost can't play.
yeah,
And like the safety, don't get me wrong, big on the safeties. Actually, personal friends with Steve Gleason, and I think that there are some things that were probably related in his disease and illness and so forth. But I do feel like that's part of the thing. But one of the things too that I feel like is also something that's different is the pushing of the athletic abilities. So do you feel like that? I think I see it across the board in all kinds of sports, but especially in football, like the physicality of the players, the athleticism of the players. Do you think that's changing, up
definitely.
leveling?
It's definitely changing because technology is allowing athletes to get bigger and faster, and nutrition is allowing athletes to get stronger and more muscular. So when you get that speed and you get that size, moving at a great rate of speed, it can really, really be impactful. And I think it's only going to get the athletes only going to get bigger and stronger. Versus back in the day, there wasn't a lot of knowledge about nutrition. And if you're going to get faster, they probably told you to pull tires. You go pull tires, but now, it's almost like you have equipment like what's that Rocky IV movie where the Russian boxer, he had all the latest equipment to get better, and you got Sylvester Stallone, Rocky out there, toting whatever logs and
Tree.
tree and everything. So old school versus the new school. But
Yeah, look
definitely,
at
I think athletes going to get bigger and continue to get bigger and stronger and faster.
look at like the training of Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
It's like insane the stuff that they do. All right, and then my second question, and I'll get off the stage. So I think that this is a thing that you talked about, and I have a firm belief in this, that where you are is just where you are. It's not who you are.
Yes.
And I think that something that you said here is about, finding yourself in places and not letting that be the thing that determines your outcome. That we are the decision makers and we are the people who actually direct the show. And so even if you find yourself in a spot, I mean, sometimes things happen and you do find yourself, COVID came. We all had to pivot and shift and find ourselves in places like, okay, I don't have a job. I got to figure out how to work on a computer. But but recognizing that it doesn't define you.
No.
And so I really appreciate that you are putting that message out there too, because I think a lot of people, I work in the area of trauma and coaching, and I think that a lot of people who have come through COVID and come through the pandemic and the lockdowns, we've all experienced a little level of trauma, and that is a undercurrent that people need to start really hearing and accepting and knowing that you were just in a place and time, and keep making the decisions and keep making the steps so that you can move forward.
Yeah.
So I just appreciate that because you have a bigger platform than me. So you screaming it, people will hear it from you. And so I love that you're doing what you're doing. I appreciate that.
Actually, I say this about the platform, and then I'm gonna say make some remarks about what you just said, which I agree 100%. As you stated, now your platform is just as equal as mine. And what do I mean by that? The goal is to impact people, and you are impacting people. And whether it's one person or it's 50,000 people, the platform is the same. The principle is the same. So we're on the same platform. You're impacting people. I'm impacting people. So that's what we need to make people be aware of, that their stage is to impact people. And speaking of stage, I believe that it's imperative that you know who your audience is. And this is when you're trying to be successful. And you can be dropped in any area of life. And if you know who you are, what you have, you can overcome. We are the performers. So anybody out there who's listening, listen very carefully to what I'm about to say. Okay. I do believe you can start anywhere in life and you can make it. But you first got to know who you are, what you have, and what you can do. And understand that you are the performer, like a concert. You are the performer. Theatrics, you are the performer. The audience, that's where your energy comes from. So wherever you're dropped in, make sure you find the right people to put in your audience. Now, when you go to a concert or you've seen a concert, who are the people that can disrupt the concert the fastest or give that concert or that performer, which could be me, could be you, Deanna, could be Rock, could be anybody in the audience or anybody who watches this show. The people that can disrupt or cause the show to go bad or good are the people in the front row. So I call those people your partners. They're your partners. So when you go to set up your seating assignments in your life, and if you want to be effective in reaching your destiny, make sure you learn how to categorize people correctly. Put your partners, and then the next set of a section, those who may be good friends, and so on and so on. And always invite your enemies to come to the concert as well. Don't close the door on them. Now, you just don't put them in the front row. You maybe put them in the nosebleed, but let them see the show. Okay. Now
what's the point in that? Is that for them to challenge you so that can make you a better person? Is that what that's for?
No.
I also invite my enemies forward, but I don't know why I do it. I think it's the challenge of the almost making me perform better to outperform them in any way. Is that what that's for you?
Well, that's part of it, but it's to allow them to see that they could not stop you. The only person, like I said, that can stop you is the person that you look at every day in the mirror. It's the person on the stage. So to allow your enemies to come in, you're letting them come eat at the table of celebration, and you're gonna feed them. So that's how you change people as well. Maybe you take that hater and they say, hey, you know what? Well, I've been hating on Rock. I was wrong for hating on him. I was wrong for hating on Deanna. You know what? I want to be more of a supporter now. How can I help you? So you let them come in. That's how you change people as well. And I ended with this story about Muhammad Ali, meaning this, what I'm talking about. We continue to go as long as we want, as Rock as you want.
Okay.
Muhammad Ali, there's a story that goes, after one of his fights, he was introduced to a lady, and he had noticed the lady, right? She was at all of his fights. He always noticed that she was in the front row at all of his fights. So after this particular fight, she was brought to him. He told somebody, hey, bring that lady to me. She seems like to be one of my biggest fans. So when she came in, that's what he said to her. He says, you must be one of my biggest fans. I see you at all my fights. And the lady says, no, I'm not one of your biggest fans. Actually, I don't like you. I just wanted to make sure that I was there to witness when you got knocked flat on your butt. So the moral of the story, everybody who is watching and cheering for you, not cheering, really they're cheering for you to be knocked down.
Sure.
But not for you. So that's why I say you got to make sure you categorize the people in your audience. Know who's in your audience. Know who's in your life, because there are people who come to disrupt your performance. Let them come in, but assign them seats way back in the nosebleed.
Okay, don't put me in a nosebleed. That's not why I'm here.
No, you're a Saints fan, so you know what? Yeah, you get.
You put you in a headlock instead.
Well, we are nice to all the other fans that come around too, so it's okay. We will
Yes.
have a beer with you after, win, lose, or draw. So
It's called sport, isn't it? That's what it's called,
That's right.
sport. I love it.
Now I am here in Atlanta. So Falcons fans, Falcons and Saints. They kind
Tom,
of
just show us that beautiful bit of gold behind you there, man. Can we get a closer look there?
Wait,
Hey, I just
Is that
want to
the
say
gold
Falcons
trophy?
don't have that, but the
Yeah.
Saints do. Okay?
yeah, the Saints got one too. Let's see what we got here.
That's right.
This one here. This
Wow.
is a replica of Super Bowl 39. We went back to back, so I don't know if you guys can see. I know it's kind of shiny, but
That's
look,
beautifully
look,
shiny.
I know it's kind of shiny.
I know, right?
Are you checking that out, Downer?
It might hurt your eyes. I kissed the real one, okay? I kissed the real
It's
one.
real heavy as well.
There you go.
There you go, baby.
That's Super Bowl 38. Again, these are replicas. The real Lombardi trophies sit at the stadium, Gillette Stadium, One Patriots Parkway in Foxborough.
When they say replica, I mean it's exactly the same, but it's just not the one from the day, right?
Yeah, it's not the real one. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but they're just gorgeous bits of memorabilia right there.
Yeah, man. So that's the second one right there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's good stuff. And I got my helmets and everything. See if I can pull. I know you guys didn't sign up for this, but my old
man, I am. I'm asking.
Yeah, my Patriots helmet, my number and everything, and so it's a lot of good memories.
So you were number 38, and you won Super Bowl 38. If you're a numbers person and you kind of like that thing, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was real cool. Actually, the seat cushion. My family when they came to the game, they got the seat cushions, and I tried to buy as much paraphernalia from Super Bowl 38 as I could, because again, that's something that would never ever happen again. Plus, I'm actually trying to create some NFTs, Super Bowl 38. So that I was a part of, because that's something that would never ever happen again. So
I'm 3 years older than you, and it's over my head. It's over my head. I can't. It's too much. Rocco explained it to me. You're in it, right?
What's that?
You're into it, right? Like you understand.
NFTs
and all of it.
I'm just finding out through Paul Vardo. Paul Vardo is sort of putting me onto that right now, so I'm just trying to understand it. So there's one. I don't even know if I can say it yet or not, but he's got his own coming out as well. So I'm trying to understand it properly. It's still a little over my head. We do have a message here from Dave. He says, from the trophies you just pulled out, I think I love the one that you showed is the one that beat the Philadelphia Eagles, especially based on the answer you gave to my question earlier. So there you go, from Dave.
I know, right? And funny thing about Super Bowl 38, I'm like, Super Bowl 38, that Super Bowl was, of the two, the easiest to win. Super Bowl 38. Of course, the Patriots had gone to the Super Bowl 36. They played the St. Louis Rams at the time. Now they're the Los Angeles Rams. But they played the St. Louis Rams, supposedly the greatest show on turf, and they ended up beating them in 2001. The Patriots missed the Super Bowl. They got into the playoffs in 2002, but lost in the wild card round. Then that's when they went in free agency, and they brought me in. They brought Rodney Harrison in, brought in some other key players, and then we win Super Bowl 38. Now, that was easy because I believe no one really expected, us to win. We won. Okay, y'all won. Now, come back the second year, every team is now saying, when we pull up to their stadium or they come play us, every coach is saying to their team, here's our opportunity to find out what type of team we are. Today, we get to play the champions of the NFL. So to go through the second season, knowing that everybody was giving us their very, very best, and we still won the Super Bowl, Super Bowl 39 is always going to be the one that I say is the hardest. But Super Bowl 38 is always going to be the sweetest, because that's the first one.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love it, man. All right. Diana, I'm going to pop you down and we're going to tail off the podcast
Perfect.
now. Thank you very much for popping up, and I'll speak to you again
Diana.
offline. Thank you, Diana. Tyrone, man, I want to thank you for your time today, brother. That was great. I do have a whole bunch of other questions in a whole different set of series, I think. So if we can revisit this again in future, and on the same note, you're here on Fireside now, so obviously you're planning to do some shows. Tell us a little bit about that, man. And again, I'm going to put my hand up if you ever need a co-host to help guide things sometimes, because I know I can't do shows on my own. Some people can. Some people are really skilled at it. I'm not one of those guys. But if you just need someone to sit in, help a little bit, let me know, man. I'm more than happy because it's really easy to flow the conversation with you. Yeah. But anyway, tell us what your plans are for podcasts coming up here on Fireside and any other plans you've got for promotion.
Yeah, again, I appreciate that, Rock, and I am going to take you up on that, okay? I'm used to teamwork. Okay. Teamwork make the dream work.
100%, man. So, I believe that.
Sir. Hey, I'm out to win championships. But my show is going to be cut, so to speak, from an original show that I do. It's called Talk and Grind. Talk and Grind. Basically, I'm going to intertwine sports and life. I believe that sports is a great parallel to life. And there are tons of examples in sports that are comparable to life. And truth be told, there are some people who, if you talk to them in sports language about real life, they get it. They get it. The bell goes, the light goes off, the bells start ringing. So part of my show is going to be about that. And then there's a part of my show where we're going to do some fitness. So because of the ability for Fireside to be able to use video, people can see me actually working out, and I'm working out with you. So I'm grinding. That's where the grind comes in. So we're going to talk. We're going to chat it up. We're going to laugh. We're going to clap. But then, you know what? It's time to grind. So I'm going to stimulate you mentally, and I'm going to stimulate you physically. And we're going to work that thing on Talk and Grind.
Beautiful. Okay, so that's coming up here on Fireside. Soon down the track?
Yes. I'm actually, once I get everything kind of orchestrated, so to speak, there's a lot of stuff that I'm dealing with and working on, from apps to, just things, period. There's a lot of good things going on in my life. So, but I am going to be on Fireside, and I'm definitely going to take you up on that, Rock. And
no problem, man.
Yes. And Stephanie, Stephanie's been a very big inspirational helper, man. Yes.
She's wonderful. She really is. She's a blessing to Fireside. I'm glad to have got to know her as well. She's a beautiful soul, man. She really is, Yes. So yeah, if you need, thanks for taking me up on that as well. I'm more than happy to do that. And if you have any tech things behind the scenes, you want some help with setup and that, as other Firesiders know here, I'm happy to always help get people up and running here on Fireside, because I love this place so much, and I just want to see people succeed, man, because it's a fucking awesome place here. Yeah, I love it.
Is. And I got to give shout outs to Sarah McCord as well, because she kind of hit.
I think she's still here, right?
Yes, she popped in as well, and got to give shout outs to her.
Yes, she's still here,
because she was the one that put me in with Stephanie, and Stephanie, like you say, such a great help and introducing me to people like yourself. And every time when I come on, when she's doing a creator show, I'm able to just hear you guys talk. It's like being a rookie again. Remember I said earlier, never be afraid to be a sophomore again. So I want to be great, man. I want to be great. It's like Ricky Bobby. Anybody want to go fast? He said, I want to go fast. If I want to be great, I want to be great.
But you are great, man. You're great. You are a great person. I could really openly really say that straight up, man. From the moment meeting you, seeing you, you've got that vibe, brother. I've got to tell you over and over. It's truth. Man, so, all right. So I want to get you to give yourself a plug on social media. Now, I've written your social medias down on my post on Instagram and across a couple of other platforms, but if you can give yourself a plug on your main handles, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, places like that, Facebook.
Thank you, Rock. I appreciate that. Can you guys hear what the Rock is speaking? He gave me an opportunity to speak. So you know what? If you ever want to call Tyrone, you can call me by looking me up. Little shout out, Erica Badu, Tyrone song. Tyrone on all social media, LinkedIn, Twitter, Tyrone Poole38, Facebook, Tyrone Poole38. Like I say, everything social media, Tyrone Poole38. If you want to go to my website, TyronePoole38.com, TyronePoole38.com. And there, you guys, ultimate success in the game of life. Ultimate success in the game of life. I tell people, get the book from my website. The reason why, you can get the book anywhere books are sold. But I tell you to go to my website, because when you go to my website, you are helping me to build champions in every community. And what I mean by that is, when you go to Amazon or you go to the local bookstores or online bookstores, the publishing company, they're still getting some of the proceeds because of how the contract was structured. That's why you see a lot of authors, they have their own books that they sell. And the way I did my contract with my publishing company, which I use a publishing company, they got some books and I got some books. Now, they get nothing from my books, but I get something from the contract that I set up with them. So when you go to my website, not only does the book come autographed personally, but all the proceeds come to me to help me to continue to help others be the best that they can be. And together we are partnering to create champions around the world, locally and globally. So
That's great. That's great.
TyronePoole38.com. And also the foundation, if you want to donate, Tyrone Poole38 foundation.org. Again, it's a 501c3 organization. So any financial blessings that you give, you can use it to lower your taxes. So, if you want to lower your taxes and you got to do it by $10,000, hey, think of the Tyrone Poole38 Foundation and give, okay? Because again, you're helping me to help others. You're helping me to continue to help families bridge the gap. And the more we can bridge that gap in the family and put it together, I think we make the youth even stronger and better. So Tyrone Poole38 Foundation.org. And that is it for me. Back to Rock. And this
you heard it here on Fireside, ladies and gentlemen, live on Fireside here. And man, just to throw in an idea, when you said worldwide, I was just imagining, I don't know if you've got something in your mix for like video link from you talking to kids in high schools and stuff like that. But man, get you to Australia somehow like that would be awesome. I'm here to help if that's the case.
Man,
I think that'd be awesome, man. Like doing like probably even this time of your evening is their daytime at school, setting up a video link in the classrooms for the older kids that are about to leave school, going to the workforce or what they're going to do. There's a lot of kids going through. There's a lot of our society seems to be ridiculed with mental health issues at the moment. I think they just need people like you in this world to build champions, to build that resilience, to show people what it's like. So yeah, man, I think you've got an important message to get out there, brother. We'll talk again anyway, for sure. 100%. Yeah. All right, Tyrone, thanks, man. I'll just let everyone know, if you're listening on any other platforms, you can certainly sign up to Fireside. We can catch us live and interact here on Fireside. Otherwise, if you're not and you want to find us on any other social media platforms, for myself, Rocstedi is _Rocstedi on Twitter, Instagram, and everywhere else is the Rocstedi Podcast, whether it be on YouTube, Facebook, we're on Discord, TikTok, the whole lot. So just go and type it in Google. I'm sure you'll find it. But thank you very much for your time, man. I know we went way over. I'm sorry about that, but it was just it's an easy talk, man. It's easy to talk. So we'll catch you all again next time. Thanks to the listeners for dropping in. I'll give you a quick shout out who's still here. We've obviously got Tyrone here. We've got Pichu, AC. We've got Seth, Woody, Benny Boom Boom. We've got Paul, Sarah, Beth, Sandra, Mina, Elvis, Mr. Bombastic, Sammy, Deanna, and Dave. So thank you for joining us and hanging around till the very end. I'm Rocstedi, and this is Tyrone Poole38. So thanks for joining us.
Steady.
There we go.
Steady.
You can sing it, baby.
Rocking night long. We begin to rock. Steady. Come on now. Come on with it, Rock.
That's the one. Thank you, brother. Thank you very much. It was an absolute pleasure talking to you, man. I'll see you again soon.
Man. All right,
Cheers.
man. Cheers, everybody.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.